Okay, here we go. Let's start off with the Diamondbacks. I feel like people are pretty split on this one. You got the red and the teal. It's definitely a unique look. For me personally, with the Diamondbacks, listen, this first logo that they had, where you had the green, the purple, the gold, it's just such a great color combination for me. This will always be my favorite Diamondbacks logo. Moving on to the Atlanta Braves, and they have a deep history of logos. You got to go all the way back to their days from Boston. They were the Boston Bean Eaters. They were the Boston Doves. Then they were the Boston Braves. Then they moved to Milwaukee, and then eventually to Atlanta. Now, I did like the Screaming Native American logo. I think that's a pretty cool look, but what they have now, in my opinion, is simply the best. You know, it's very simple, but just very solid. Great text, great color combination. Love the tomahawk. Everything is perfect about their current logo. Moving on to the Baltimore Orioles, and I do like their current logo. It's a cartoonish looking Oriole smiling at you, giving you a bit of a side eye. I like that orange and the black in there. I think it's a great logo overall, but I love the logo from the 60s going all the way into the 90s, where they had a couple of different versions of it, but just this Oriole holding the bat, smiling, wearing cleats. It's just such a classic retro look, and hey, they won 3 World Series during this time, so I think they like that logo too. On to my Red Sox, and you may have thought at one point they haven't had many different logos because they're such a classic team, but they have gone through a lot of changes over the years. They've primarily gone with that hanging socks look, but they've done it in different ways. Before the current logo, they had it to where inside the circle it said Boston Red Sox on top of the baseball. Then they had a couple before that just on top of baseballs, one that had more stitching. They had this hanging socks one where a little more scraggly looking. They went with more of those lines there instead of the current where they have just more of the white patches. And then they had a couple of different ones, one where they just said Red Sox. There was one that said Boston. There was the one stocking that said Boston on it. There was a couple other ones as well, not listed here. There's this one with the baseball, like that 3D lettering. And then they had this weird one. I don't know. To me, it's just creepy looking. I never bought into this one. I'm sure there's people out there that like this one. I don't know. It was just never in my taste. But I just like the current one. It's clean. It's simple. 2 hanging socks. Looks great. It just fits in today's era. On to another classic team, the Chicago Cubs, and the one thing they've always had with their logo is that big C in the middle. Now, the logo prior, the blue circle on the outside, wasn't as thick. In these, you didn't have the full circles. They cut into the inside there. They had the bear at one point. They had the big red C here, but no blue on the outside. They had this one here, where this bear was holding the bat. This one looks more like the Chicago Bears colors, and then they had this one that was pretty unique. So they've had a whole bunch of different ones where they had bears in the middle, or it simply just said Cubs. For me, I just think the current logo is the best. It's a perfect combination of that red and the blue. I think they're both. I like the thickness of the red and the blue as well. I just think it makes the logo stand out more. This is classic. Do not change this logo. On to the other side of Chicago, let's talk about the White Sox. And they've had a lot of different logos throughout their history. The last one, they went with that navy blue and the red look. I did like the look of this one. The one prior is just a guy swinging a bat with the red circle, the white sock behind him. Not a big fan of that one. They've had this one here where it had the wing on the sock and it says Chicago. They had this cartoonish character here holding the White Sox bat. And then they've had, these different combinations where it just said Sox in different ways. This one was navy blue. They had the red with the yellow there. They've had a lot of interesting looks. For me, I think the current logo, it's perfect. That font, that script font, the black, the white, the silver trimming as well. I think it really differentiates them from the Chicago Cubs, where prior they had that blue and the red, where I think for them, it just fits more of the Chicago White Sox character. On to another historical team, the Cincinnati Reds, and I like their logo today. Very simple, but very effective. You got Reds in the middle there, solid font. You got that wishbone C going around it. I like the style of it. You got the red in the background. You got that black shadow. Very simple, but very good at the same time. But I just like the retro logos they had. You had that Reds player in the middle that was running. He's got that face on him like he's ready to go win a ball game. I think if they use this today, I think they would have to make it a bit more modern looking. I think you would have to add a bit more design to it. I also love Mr. Redlegs. I just love the cartoonish look of it. I love the mustache. Just a classic looking logo to me. I just love that logo. Maybe you could combine these two in some way. But they do also use Mr. Redlegs in one of their alternate jerseys, so I think they are putting it to good use. I don't know. For me, I just like either one of these. On to the Cleveland Guardians, and they've gone through a lot of changes in recent years, not just with their logo, but with the entire team name. They were the Indians at one point, and now they are the Guardians. So taking a look at the current logo, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like the wings that commemorate the Guardians of Traffic statues that are in Cleveland there. I think that's a nice touch, but I'm not a fan of the G's. Like, I don't know. I think it's a bit lazy, to be honest. I think they should honestly change the G's to the C's that they had prior. I do like, it's a very simple look, but I just like the look of it. And I think with the deep history that they have, I think the C just goes a long way. When you see that C, you just think of Cleveland. So I don't know. I think they should combine this C with the wings in just my personal opinion. I think that could look pretty cool. I also like the Indians logo too. These teams just went hard in the paint. That's probably why I just like that logo so much. I just think of Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez. My goodness, those teams were just through the roof. So I did like this logo for the Indians, but for me, that's what I would do with the current logo. Keep the wings, get rid of the G's, maybe focus more on the Cleveland aspect of it. On to the Colorado Rockies, and I hate this logo. It is so boring. You got that silver and the black. It's just CR. There's no character to it. Where's the purple? I need all the purple. I used to like this part of their old logo where you had the purple mountains and the baseball. I thought that looked great. Give me all the purple with the Rockies. About this logo, I didn't like that it said Colorado Rockies. I don't think it was bad, but I think just today it's a little boring to me. I would like if their logo was just the mountains there with the baseball. I think that was the best part about it. Bring that back. Get rid of this logo. On to the Detroit Tigers, and they have one of the most classic logos in all of sports. That old English style D goes all the way back to the early 1900s. They started off with this red tiger, and then they just went with that D. They eventually went back to a tiger that looked really weird. Then they went back to the D's, and then they went back to the Tigers. I don't know what the heck is going on with these Tigers. They make me think of the movie Cocaine Bear, where that bear got into all that cocaine in the woods and was just wrecking everything. So I don't know. They need to stop doing this. Then they went back to the D. They did a good tiger here with the D. I actually really like that logo a lot. For me personally, I just want to see more orange. I know they're a classic team, but I love the orange aspect of the Detroit Tigers. I would say, for me, I liked this one here. I think if you had some form of this where you had that mostly navy blue with that D, with the orange, maybe throw some white in there, I think that would look really good. I need more orange with the Detroit Tigers. On to the Houston Astros, and about 10 years ago, they changed up their uniforms and their colors. They used to have that brick red, the black, and the gold in there. I loved this color combination a lot. I love the script font there. I love the underline. I love that star, how it wasn't fully complete. Loved the look of this logo. Now, the logo today, I think it's okay, but for me, I think it's just a little boring. Maybe I'm in the minority there, but the font to me is a little boring. You just have that H in the middle. I don't know. It just doesn't really excite me. I like the colors, but I just like the one here that they had prior. I would say, if you could maybe combine the look of this with this current look with the current colors, like this font and the star, I think would just go perfectly with these colors. I don't know. This one, it just kind of bores me. On to the Royals, and I really like their logo today. It really emphasizes that crown at the top, says KC in the middle. Very simple, but very effective look. The only thing I would change about it is that shade of gold. I liked that shade of gold that they used back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Really like it. I think it pops much more. If you could just change that crown to this shade of gold, maybe you could change the KC in the middle to that gold. I don't think you need to, though. I would just change the crown at the top, and then I think it's perfect. On to the Angels, and I think they need to completely revamp this organization. New ownership, new jerseys, trade Mike Trout, start fresh. But the logo, I do like the logo. It's a simple, clean, effective logo. You got the A, you got the color combination of that lighter red, the darker red, the navy blue around it, and of course the halo on top. But I would take aspects of older logos and combine it into the current iteration. Now, if we're to go back here, you had that Disney Angels logo from the late 90s, early 2000s. I know people are pretty split on this logo and the jerseys, but I liked the color combination of this, and I liked the wings there. They took away the halo and they put the wings, and I still think you could somehow use that in the logo today. I'm not sure how, but I did like the look of it. I like the color combination of that red, that baby blue in the background. I thought it was a nice look. You had the bats in there. I think you could take some aspects of this and use it in a new logo. And then if you go back to the California Angels, I liked that gold yellow halo. I think you need to combine these aspects and create one new logo. I think it could really hit. But to me, I think they need to freshen things up. On to the Dodgers, and they've had a classic logo for so long now. Back in Brooklyn, they used to just rock that B, and then in the late 30s, they transitioned to where it just said Dodgers in that slanted scripted font, and then eventually they added that red baseball, and throughout the years, they've just made small little updates where they either thicken the font, or they thicken the baseball, or even thinned it out. Now, today, I think it's a nice balance, right? I think the thickness of the Dodgers script font is perfect. I think the thickness of the red flying baseball in the background just goes perfectly with it. I think the current logo is the best out of all of them. On to the Marlins, and I wouldn't necessarily say I have a favorite logo from the Marlins. I like a little bit of each of their older logos and the current logo. I like the current Marlin here. I do like that Miami blue in there, but I feel like that red doesn't really pop very much. I don't know. I feel like you could do some things to improve this logo. Now, for the older logos, when they really tried to revamp everything, they tried to go with that sleek look. They had that sleeker looking Marlin in the corner there. Now, I did like the colors of this. I like that orange and the yellow and that lighter blue. I did think it was pretty nice, but that older Marlins logo of that teal green, now I do think it is a little too retro-y, to be the logo, but I think you could take aspects of it. I love that teal green. It pops so well. I think if you could combine this teal green, maybe with some of these colors, add it in to this current logo, right? Make it pop a little bit more. But I would say I don't really have a favorite Marlins logo. I just like a little bit of each of them. On to the Milwaukee Brewers, and they actually took their old logo from the late 70s to early 90s, and they put it inside of this navy blue circle, and the baseball there inside of the glove looks a little different as well. This actually looks like a baseball, where the one from back in the day only had that one curved line, so it's inside this navy blue circle now. It says Milwaukee Brewers, has the yellow outline on the circle. I like the way this looks. I prefer that lighter blue just a little bit. That's just my own preference, honestly, but I have nothing wrong with today's logo. I think it looks great. On to the Minnesota Twins, and they actually just refreshed their logo not too long ago. For so long, they had these circle designs where it just said Twins on top of the baseball. In this one, you had the navy blue circle, whereas before, they only had the white background. I did like these. They also had these actual twins in the logo as well. I actually thought that was kind of cool. But to me, this logo wins. It's just so much more simple, much more clean, much more modern. I prefer this one a lot more. On to the New York Mets, and they haven't really done much with their logo since the start of their franchise, but they did take out one thing in the last update. They had the NY back here, and they simply just removed that. They've updated the orange a couple of times, so it's this lighter shade of orange. Personally, I liked the old orange. I like that darker. I think it contrasts better with that navy blue, but that's just me. On to the New York Yankees, and there's not really too much to look at here. They haven't really done much with their logos over the years. They've had a couple of different ones, though. The prior one had some light blue mixed in on the hat. I thought that was kind of neat, but it's not my taste personally. Now, I still see people to this day, they prefer this logo over the current one. For me, though, I just like the current logo. It's a good mix of colors. I mean, I love that font there, the bat with the hat. It's just a classic look. To me, this is what the Yankee logo needs to be. On to the Oakland A's, and who knows where they're going to be in a few years, whether that's Las Vegas, Sacramento, who knows, but I do think they need to update this logo a little bit. I've grown a bit bored of it. I think there's just a little too much of this dark green. I want to see more of this yellow with that lighter green in there, and honestly, I liked the one that they had from 83 to 93. I don't know, it's just a good contrast to me. I think that white behind the yellow A, I think that looks pretty good. I think they need to, modernize it a little bit more, but I like this combination of colors, or maybe even just go with this one. You got that yellow background with the green A. I prefer this one, though. out of all three. Onto the Phillies, and just a few years ago, they updated their logo. They put the Liberty Bell in the background. You got the stars there on top of that cursive font. I really like their logo a lot. I did also like their logo from the 80s, and I really like that maroon color as well. But to me, there's nothing wrong with the logo right now. I really like that Liberty Bell. Onto the Pittsburgh Pirates, and with their current logo, they went back to their roots. They just went with a simple P after having this logo for a while. When I was growing up, this was the logo they had, and these teams always stunk, so I'm glad they went back to the P. The only thing I want here, while I do like the design of it, I like the color, I just want some black in there, maybe some white, kind of just make it pop a little bit more. Onto the San Diego Padres, and not too long ago, they refreshed their logo and their jerseys. They went back to that golden brown they used back in the day. I remember at first, I was a little weird about it, but it's really grown on me over the last few years. I'm glad they went back to those colors. Now, their logo right now, it's just the SD in brown. I mean, I think it's fine, but I don't know. To me, it's a little boring. I love their first logo. You got the Friar here with the bat. Now, I would definitely do more with this. Like, I would probably fill in the circle with the yellow. I would update maybe the way he looks a little bit. I would make this a little bit more modern, but this, to me, this is their best logo. Now, I did like these logos from when they had Tony Gwynn, but to me, the very first one they had, this is the best one. Onto the San Francisco Giants, and their logo hasn't changed much over recent years, but they have had some different versions. Now, remember, they had the scripted font as well, going in that diagonal pattern on top of the baseball, and then before that, they were the New York Giants, and they just had the NY. To me, their current logo is the best out of all of them. I think everything works well together, the black, the orange, the font on top of the baseball. You know, I did kind of like this one from 94 to 2000, but this one is just a better version of it. Onto the Seattle Mariners, and they've had their current logo since 1993, and I like their logo. I like the color combination of that teal, that navy blue. You got that baseball in there. It says Seattle Mariners. Simple, clean, effective. I like their logo, but me personally, I just like the trident. Now, I know they have that trident on the City Connect hat, so I'm glad they're putting it to good use. I just like this color combination. I even kind of like this one in a way. I could see a lot of people thinking this is boring. I think it has just a good retro look to it. That's just me. But I don't know. I like the trident. Bring back the trident full time. On to one of the best logos in all of sports, the St. Louis Cardinals. I love everything about their logo. The bird on top of the bat, the great color combination of the red, the yellow on the bat, the yellow in the beak. You got the navy blue mixed in perfectly. Mwah! Just love this logo so much. Now, their last logo did look very similar to this, just slightly different. The beak was red, and you had a little bit of yellow in the eye as well. This is a much better combination. The current logo is amazing. On to the Tampa Bay Rays, and it feels like yesterday they were the Devil Rays with this logo. I remember Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff on those teams. They have really come a long way since then. Now, they did update their logo in 2008, and that's when the Rays all of a sudden just became good. Now, you had the baseball diamond here. You had that light blue mixed in. You had the sunshine there on the R. I did like this logo, but I feel like at some point they're going to have to update this. Now, it's just Rays. It's basically the same thing, except they took out the baseball diamond. For me personally, I would just go with this ray of sunshine. I don't think you need to make it complicated. Maybe mix in some of that light blue, some navy blue in there. But for me, I would say this one is fine. On to the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers, and I think their logo now is solid. I think everything about it works. You got the baseball in the middle, the T on top, good color combination of the red and the blue. Got the stars in here. I think it works very well. The only thing I would change if I were to be nitpicky is just the blue. I think the lighter shade of blue they used back in the 80s, I thought that just worked a little bit better with the red, but that's just me. Their logo now is solid. On to the Toronto Blue Jays, and I love their current logo. What I love about it is that they took their retro design from when they first came around in the 70s, and they just modernized it, where this logo, it's a bit more round on the edges, but on this one, on the beak, it's just more sharp. It just has a more sharp feel to it, a bit more sleek. I just like the way it looks. The red and the blue and the navy blue, everything just works really well. I love this logo. And last but not least, let's finish off with the Washington Washington Nationals. I think their current logo is solid. Good color combination of that blue and the red. I know people say the W looks like the logo from Walgreens, but to me, I think it looks great. It's a good looking W, good cursive W there. I like the stars. I think it just works really well. I do wonder at some point if they will update their main logo to the one they debuted on their new alternate. We got the Capitol building with that W and the stars. I think this is a nice looking logo. I do wonder if they go with this one eventually. But let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you could go back with an old logo on your favorite team, which one would you go with? Let me know down below in the comments. But that's all I have for right now, everyone. If you can on the way out, hit that like button for me, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.